Hello, students, and welcome to week 4 of online learning with Mr. Swan. So, we have finished up our climate unit pretty much. We have done all the notes, we have gone through most of the activities, and I figured I was never going to show you a movie pretty much this entire year in the classroom because usually they're too long and we wouldn't ever get time to kind of go through them. And now maybe is the perfect time for a movie. So that's what I did for you. So I have. So what we're going to do this week is going to be a little bit different than we've done previously. I have found a movie for you, and it's called Decoding the Weather Machine. I would not pick a bad one. Just throwing that out there right at the beginning. This one's really good, and so that's what we're going to do. After you're kind of done watching the movie, I have a little Google form for you to fill out, answer some questions about it. And this one is a long one. The movie's about 2 hours or so. So instead of giving you an assignment Monday, Wednesday, Friday like I would normally, this one is going to be your week-long assignment. So because like every class should be about an hour long ish in length at most. So the movie's kind of broken up into thirds, about 40 minutes each. That pretty much over the course of 3 days, along with the sheet, kind of works us out to about 3 hours or so. So I figured that will pretty much be good for the week, and so that's what we're going to do this time. So I still will make you a picture of the day, though, which I did. Earth is shaking less. So Earth's shaking less. There's about 4 billion people, roughly around about half of the world's population, have been told to kind of isolate themselves or kind of like have some type of stay-at-home order kind of going on because of the coronavirus. Because of that, some researchers in some seismic stations have noticed that the noise level, the rumblings of the Earth's crust have actually decreased. And these are usually caused by cars driving around or buses or tractor trailers, any kind of like usual human activity as, some type of vibration into it. And they've started to calculate these all the time. And on the chart on the bottom right of your screen, the seismic noise, the white background one, this is a seismic station over in Belgium. This is the average amount, that orangish kind of line. And this is about the average amount of noise they're getting. Eventually, they got their order about to close down schools and kind of self-isolate. And then you can see the general trend over that one is actually starting to decrease and eventually goes down. And the more people that kind of stay home, the lower it actually should go. Their seismic stations in this one are a little bit I don't want to say higher to the surface, but a little bit closer to the surface. That's why they're able to pick up that kind of activity. Some stations around the world will pick up no reduction in activity, mostly because we build these stations in remote areas to get away from people because of this reason, that there's too much vibrations. In some places that, we dig really deep down into the ground, so it kind of voids all the vibration in the top part of the surface of the crust. So because of this and because of the less vibrations, they think they can monitor a little bit more about some more shallower, weaker earthquakes. Maybe they find some more volcanic activities or maybe a subtle tremor kind of going on that they normally would not be able to hear. One thing I kind of noticed about this graph I thought I would point out for you, see these divots right here as it kind of goes on? These are the weekends. So this is weekend activity. So during the week, Monday through Friday, more people are kind of driving, more people are moving around, they're working, they're doing things, and the vibrations levels are higher. And then on the weekends, it actually drops. So right now, we're kind of, just based on this chart, and take a look at about a month or two worth of data, our regular Monday through Friday activity is hovering right around a normal weekend activity. And weekends are then dropping even further below. So just kind of a strange consequence of all these people kind of like hanging around their house and just waiting out the time, you could say. So one that people were not expecting, and always kind of fun to see something like that. Let's kind of get to what we're doing today. So the movie, for the movie, I'll have the link for you in your Google Classroom when you type it in. It should load something like this. You do not need to make an account if you get any type of pop-up here. Don't worry about it. It'll say something like maybe, do you want to join? Maybe if I do it in an incognito window, I'll get it to pop up again. But here we go. You don't need to make an account or join. So you just say no thanks. It's down here on the bottom. It's in blue font on kind of like a darker blue background, so kind of hard to read. I'm sure that's a design accident. And then so you just click no thanks, and then you can just exit out this like little X right here. for your station, and then you hit play, and then it will immediately start. So this movie is called Decoding the Weather Machine, and its runtime is about hour 53 minutes, so roughly about 2 hours or so. And I think of it when I watched it that it kind of breaks up into thirds. The first third being what is the history and what is the data of climate change? Where do we get that from? And they'll go on to talk about like a little bit of the history about it. How do we know so far about the climate in the past? Where does that information come from, and like how can we be so sure? The next third is what are the consequences. This movie shows some consequences. One's probably the bigger worldwide ones. We've talked about consequences of global warming all year long. So you feel free to bring some of those up in that Google form. I have a question for you about that in there as well. The last third of the movie talks about what we can do and what are people doing. Some things in here we talked about, such as renewable energy. Some things are relatively, this movie's only about a year old or so. Some kind of groundbreaking research about trying to pump carbon dioxide back into the ground, working to make a more fuel efficient, I'm going to call it, solar panel with almost a thing called, looks like solar paint, which looked really cool as well, kind of going right through that. Different farming techniques. So that is just a tiny sampling of what people are doing. People are trying to do stuff all over the world, and those techniques are way more numerous than this video can actually show you. So what my idea for you is to kind of open this up in a tab, like on your Chromebooks, watch maybe like the first 40 minutes or so, and then kind of goes through the history and what is the data, and then take a pause, and then maybe come back in like a day or two, and then kind of watch just about the next like half hour, 40 minutes or so. That should put you up to about an hour and 20 minutes or so into the video. And that's like the next third or so. Kind of getting like, what are the consequences? And, if we're talking about like rising sea level, is that a big issue for us where we live? Well, our elevation is really quite high above sea level, so maybe not, but there are people who are not, so they'll definitely interview them as well. And the last third is talking about what are people trying to do to fix this? And, what is the balance, between trying to innovate and trying to mitigate the damage versus not doing anything at all. And it kind of goes through those work on what is going to be the best for us. What's going to cause the least amount of suffering for a whole bunch of people, which is what we're trying to do. So that's the goal. So watch one third, then watch kind of like the next, then take a pause, then watch the next one, and then take a pause. And then once you're ready, go ahead and fill out that Google form. I made a very, very small amount of questions. I believe there's just 7 on there, so that really shouldn't take you that long. A couple about the actual video, a couple about maybe like what you learned, and I hope you really enjoy it. The production quality, just try to sell this a little bit more. Very good. The explanations are spot on, really good visualizations. They went to different parts of the world for this one. And so some things I was able to mention in class, like taking ice cores and trying to get the air out, they actually have video of not only just them doing it, but also some of the machines. Some of that is like the first time I've even seen some of those machines. So that's always a pretty exciting thing to do. So I think you will enjoy it. This will be your, as of right now, I'm going to say one of maybe 2 movies for the rest of the entire year. So you got a movie day, so that's pretty sweet. And I hope you really like it. So let me know, and I hope you enjoy. All right. Besides that, I will see, and I will talk to you later. I'll put down a Google Meet office hours for this week. I'll probably do that on Monday, so today as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop in if you like. And have a great day. All right. See you later.